Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Moody Miles, Trikes and Bikes. We're on a local ride today, and this is sort of a purpose for this ride. It's sort of a ride along and share some things that are coming up, some very exciting things. I've explained a couple times, one of the reasons I started the channel was to try to add some trike content, because I watch a lot of cycling videos, enjoy all kinds, road bikes, mountain bikes, gravel bikes, and they all have a lot of channels and a lot of content. And since I got into triking a little over a year ago, when I'm done with a trike ride, I like to click on some recumbent trike videos and kind of just something I can relate to, watch other people's videos, watch them ride, see what kind of machinery they have, hear about their experiences, just like you do with the other forms of cycling. And I noticed there wasn't a lot of content out there, so that's why I started the channel. And I live here in Delaware. In some senses, it's a bike-friendly state. We do have paved and gravel bike paths, places you can go if you're not inclined to ride on the road, which I'm not. Technically, you could say I'm on a road right now. I'm in Killens Pond State Park. I just passed the speed limit 10 sign, and there's not a lot of traffic out here, so I feel pretty safe riding on these roads. But as far as some states that have hundreds of miles of bike trails, of which I am supremely envious, we don't quite have that. I have a few places close to home that I could stitch together a route. One lap around that route will be about 10 miles, 2 laps is 20 miles, so that's a good local ride. I have a handful of those that I can do, and I think I've shown you pretty much every bike trail that I've done in Delaware. The last one, if you look at my videos on the Mike Castle Trail, I call that the Super Bowl or crown jewel of trails for us. That one's 17 miles next to the C&D Canal, and you can go on there and watch that one out, and you can see why I like it so much. And the other longer trail we have is a combination of trails that you can put together in the Georgetown-Lewis area by Cape Penelope State Park. There's the Georgetown-Lewis Rail Trail. Then there's the Cape Penelope Bike Loop. There's also another trail called the Breakwater Junction. And you stitch all that together, you can get around a 30-mile ride. Some of it's gravel, so I can't do it with the Ice Sprint X. This is a pavement-only machine. But you can do some longer rides down there if you stitch some of those trails together. So I say all that to let you know that me and my wife are headed to the Tater TOT Recumbent Rally in Idaho. And that is a cross-country trip for us. We're on the East Coast, and we're going almost to the West Coast. And as you can imagine, with a driving trip, you have to break that up. And that's the whole point and how much fun it's going to be when it comes to trike riding. Our first stop is going to be in Xenia, Ohio. And we went out there last year for the CycleCon Recumbent Expo, I guess you would call it. They didn't have it this year, but we really enjoyed that, and that opened up a whole world of paved trails. I believe a local there told me they have 300 miles total And I don't know all the trails, so I'm not going to come across as an authority or an expert. What I do know is they have one that runs from Cincinnati to, it's called the Ohio to Erie Trail. That's over 50 miles, I think. So, and there's a hub of trails, right? That's what made CycleCon being at Xenia so cool, is that Xenia is a hub, and the trails all go out from there. I rode from, if any of you were out there for CycleCon or from Ohio, these will all be familiar to you. But on Saturday of CycleCon, I rode from the Greene County Fairgrounds to Yellow Springs. And, I'm sorry, we drove out there. Then my wife drove the car back and I rode back. I just did it one way. That was really nice. Just a short segment of what they have there. And then I think it was AZUB sponsored a group ride on Sunday, and I believe we went out to Jamestown. Also, again, not a super long ride, but that was my first experience of a group ride with the Trike. That's one of the things I really want to do more of. I'm a solo rider, as you can gather. All my rides have been just me. But that doesn't mean I don't like riding with other people, especially a big group like CycleCon. Because one of the coolest things about recumbent trikes is the variety of designs and then how people personalize them. So, yeah, I really enjoyed that. And looking for more of the same at Tater Tot. Xenia is our first stop. Our second stop is going to be Cedar Rapids, Iowa. We're going to go on the Cedar, I believe it's called the Cedar Valley Nature Trail. Another one that looks really, really nice. In Xenia, I forgot to say where I was going to go. I'm planning on, we're staying in Beaver Creek, and I'm planning on going south, because all the other routes, or the two routes that I did when I was there, went north, so I'm going to see something different. Go south. On these intermediate stops, I mean, our ultimate goal is to get to the Tater Tot Rally. So, all this stuff is tentative, depending on weather and traffic and trail closures and whatever else can happen. But if it works out, on our intermediate stops, I'm going to try to get in about a 25-mile ride at each one, just to get, even though I know these areas all have more trails than that, we do have to keep the pace up as far as travel to get out there for the rally. So get on a little Miami trail and go south. When we get to Cedar Rapids, Iowa, Cedar Valley Nature Trail. Looks like I'm going to be going from Hiawatha to Urbana. If any of you guys are familiar with these areas, drop me a comment and let me know what to expect. I've seen some videos and they all look really, really nice. So Xenia and Cedar Rapids are the two planned rides. We also have a couple more stops on the way out. Going to stop in South Dakota and Montana. And I hadn't planned any more rides until I did some more research, and also realized that you never know with weather. Maybe one of those first two rides might get rained out. And I also discovered the Sioux Falls Greenway, I think it's called, loop. That looks really nice. And we'll see how we're doing for travel time, if we're on pace to get there on time. If I have time to do that, certainly going to try. And then after that, it's going to be just do our stops, do some sightseeing. Mount Rushmore is on the to-do list and work our way out to the Tater Tot, and then that's where all the group riding will be. And I'm hoping there's some other YouTubers there I can pick their brains a little bit about how to do this better. I've already experienced some trials and tribulations with sound. I'm using a Insta360. I did my first few rides with no external mic, and obviously the wind noise was pretty intolerable if you're trying to do a narration video. So I got the Saramonic Blink 500, and it works fine. The only challenge I have with that is the wire that connects the receiver to the mic adapter on the camera. With the 360, you got to keep all that stuff in the blind spot of the camera, and I don't know if I had beginner's luck. The first couple times I used it, I was able to get the wire, keep it out of the shot, and since then it's been persistently in there, where I'm constantly checking it when I stop. It seems like it's okay, but when I go to view the footage, I still see a line in there. So again, if you're familiar with that stuff, any tricks, let me know. The latest thing I did was, the wire is kind of longer than the guy in the video showed how he stitched his, and it looked pretty easy to tuck out of the way. But the wire I got with mine is a little bit longer. It's a little bit harder to hide it. So, man, when it comes to any of this stuff, if you see things I'm struggling with, I am wide open to constructive criticism and help. I already got a comment about how it's hard to hear me talking on my videos, and Saramonic's gain on the transmitter and receiver default is 5 out of 6 setting, and my first ride I didn't realize that I used it. I was on 6 out of 6, and I think the audio people call it overmodulation, but my voice sounded fuzzy and distorted a little bit, so I turned it back to 5, and it's clear enough, but the volume level when I upload is still too low. A car coming out of the driveway, I've never seen that before. That got my attention. So yeah, volume's been a struggle. There's also 3 different connections where this thing's plugged in. Bouncing around on a gravel bike ride, I had it come unplugged on me, so that was kind of frustrating. But anyway, as far as the volume problem goes, I use iMovie for my final edits, and you can turn the volume, goes from like 0 to 500, and I had it on 100, so I'm going to try to crank it in the iMovie editing app, see if that helps. So that's about it for the update. I'm very excited about going to Tater Tot, and also having, hopefully, besides the Tater Tot footage, and that'll be, several days of that, 2 or 3 other locations out of the great state of Delaware. So you've been with me for my early season training. I just really wanted to get in shape where I could do a 30-mile ride without too much strain, and did just about 29 on the last ride up there at the C&D Canal. So I feel pretty prepared. And if some of the rides go longer than that, I know with a huge group you can just find somebody, maybe somebody doing an easier pace, and do like a conversational ride. Not too much strain. I know I could go further doing that. But I feel ready, and I think it's going to be really enjoyable. It's going to get noisy here for a second. We're at the Route 13 terminus of this bike path, and it's rush hour. I'm going to do a turnaround and continue. I got my water bottle packed with ice cubes, and man, is that refreshing. Alright, so to close out the story about our trip, I maintenance the trike this morning, washed and lube. Just wanted to get that all done, get one shakeout ride, which is this one, and we are ready to go. Leaving at dark 30 on Friday morning. So I appreciate you watching. As I said before, we'll take any and all comments, please. Love to interact. I said earlier, got some helpful comments about the sound, and we need all of that to improve what we're doing. So like, comment, subscribe, ring the notification bell to be advised of new videos when they come up, and share these videos with your trike buddies, and we'll see you in the next one.